Hi, my name is Felipe. I am the founding member of ANA Brazil. Today, we're going to be talking about the intersection between men's mental health and artificial intelligence. Me and Alvaro is a good friend of mine. He is a specialist in artificial intelligence. He's doing a master's degree at Robert Kennedy University in Switzerland in cybersecurity and AI. So the two of us, we're going to be talking about and open to questions and, of course, answers to all you might want to know about how we can do this great intersection between technology and mental health, specifically of men's mental health. There is a silent crisis for men's mental health. For years, men have been trying to do traditional methods such as therapy, awareness campaigns, medication, and although there is still this massive gap, men suffer in silence, and the stats are alarming. So let's try to find a new frontier, a solution of how can AI actually help coping with stress. As you can see here, men have a higher suicide mortality worldwide, 4 times more than women. And Laura help seeking, nearly 1 in 10 men experience depression or anxiety, but less than half seek treatment. That's based on a social pattern, solve it alone or man up. So AI, the neuroscience of male stress. Men's brains often show a pronounced fight or flight response. So for us neuroscientists, it's a basic and very simple mechanism. A hyperactive amygdala, our tract detector, puts the stress puts an amygdala on a high alert, leading to states of anxiety, irritability, and anger. And also the prefrontal cortex, the logic center, that when we are under chronic stress, we have emotional regulation reduced. So how can AI helps? AI can analyze brain scans. It spots brain patterns in connectivity that signal the chronic stress long before a full-blown disorder develops. This is a brand new science, so we hope that AI is actually able to spot a crisis before it happens. We have four basic barriers that have been identified in mental health. Societal stigma, so the pressure to man up that discourages vulnerability. This is a key finding in reviews on masculinity and help seeking. There's a study of Seidler et al. And from 2016 and others updated that shows that men do not want to look fragile. The communication gaps, a historical reluctance to discuss personal health or emotional issues openly. So even when men go to therapy, they do not open up to the therapist. So that's a barrier that most therapists actually find, and then lots of studies shows that they are trying to override that. The inconvenience is 44% of men don't get physical exams. Men like to downplay symptoms. So a tendency to ignore signs of mental distress until it becomes an emergency. The early signs of depressions and the ongoing signs of depressions, men, it shows can often manifest as anger or aggression, not just sadness. Self-medication, especially using alcohol and user of other substances, are known to be used by men to cope with underlying distress instead of seeking help. Working obsessively in high-risk behaviors such as reckless driving and social withdrawal are considered escapist behaviors. And then some physical symptoms, unexplained headaches, chronic pains, digestive problems can often be a primary complaint. So, uh, talking about the context of mental health, what is artificial intelligence in a very simple explanation? We think about AI, we think about a complex system or a robot taking over the world, but it's not. It's a system that uses predictive language modeling, so the ability of a computer to understand and predict text interaction, pattern recognition, so identifies trends in data like behavior or speech that a human might miss. And adaptive responses, the system changes its approach based on how the user is reacting. And emotional inference, that's the game changer. This is the ability to analyze facial expressions, behavioral signs, context, voice tones, and to infer how a person is feeling. So this is the way artificial intelligence can actually be programmed and educated and taught to be working towards mental health. We already understood that men under engage in traditional mental health such as therapies. So digital tools are supposed to and hopefully will bypass these barriers easily. AI is most comfortable for men as it could be considered a safe space. So a new paradigm in emotional support, new technologies can actually help men to cope with the stress and developing mental problems. One of the things that actually bring men closest to AI mental health helping capabilities is the privacy and anonymity. AI chatbots provide a private space to talk without fear of judgment. It's available 24/7. Mental health support is available at any time. If you have a crisis, if you have insomnia, if you want to talk to someone at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't need an appointment or you don't need to dial 111 or 999. It's just there on your phone. System uses proven CBT techniques and can be there are sophisticated algorithms that can be programmed to make it more professional and with more learning from past experiences. AI actually learns from your experiences. It keeps a database of everything that you said. So you say something today, you don't need to start from scratch. Your next session, it's there. There is a log, and the system knows it, and then you simply carry on from there. The AI can even talk to you about how was your meeting yesterday. As I'm telling, there are algorithms and that are also in charge of detecting minor changes as a person can say, "Hey, how are you, Felipe? I'm fine." But if my voice tells something different, AI has vocal biomarkers that can make analysis and detect agitation or depression from how I say I'm and fine or I'm fine or I'm fine. It can detect it, micro changes over time, and it helps to identify signs of burnout, stress, or emotional decline. uh, uh, Timely warnings and feedbacks. One of the game changer here for men is that AI can be an emotional translator. Men can experience what we call alexithymia. That's a difficulty in identifying and describing emotions. So they feel vague sensations and cannot be clear to specify what is actually feeling. So AI can help men to understand those feelings and act as a mirror by helping to understand feelings by labeling them. I know we have to process and understand the feelings, but in this case, since we're talking to a system or computer or an AI, labeling systems helps to understand what you're actually feeling, to reduce frustration and internal confusion. So by building emotional vocabulary, instead of replacing, "Hey, I'm feeling mad today," no, "I'm feeling undervalued." So I'm feeling something I cannot describe, no, "I'm feeling lonely." Once you know what you're feeling, it's easier to know what to do. And other game changer here is that why people avoid therapy. First, we all know here that in order for a therapy to be well succeeded, the patient has to have a great connection with the therapist. That's the alliance between patients and therapists. It's a mandatory. So AI try to adjust to that and try to find a language where this alliance can thrive. So it has a neutral, non-judgmental uh, position. So the machine won't judge if you cry, if you shout, or if you swear. It can give short, direct exchanges, mimicking a regular, informal conversation between friends, like a man-to-man in a bar. If you set up the AI to talk to you like that, they can talk to you as a couple of friends in a pub. And there is also the problem-solving approach. It's based on CBT and in other fast-paced techniques. That's the problem. Here is the solution. And it resembles coaching, not therapy. The dynamic feels more like performance optimization and not a doctor's appointment. So it all brings to a more friendly behavior and a friendly approach that makes a person to feel confident that whatever he's talking is going to stay there. He can open up, and then he's going to have the feedback and the help that he actually needs. So this is what we think that technology can actually help us in a very brief explanation that me and Alvaro, we're working on it to develop more. I am the neuroscientist. Alvaro is the tech guy. So we are working together to develop a system that actually help men and other family members to cope with depression and anxiety. If you have questions, please let us know now. I'm going to give the speech to Alvaro so he can talk a little bit about his experience. And I have a few questions for him as well.
Sure, Felipe. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's very interesting topic. In my humble opinion, problem we have today with men's health is that actually they avoid to be in a consultant with a specialist or to understand what they are experiencing in terms of mental health. I think the men's are more like task driven, objective than emotional. So a tool could help the men's to go straight to the point and to give them ability to understand better the feelings and when they have ability to explain to an AI agent what they are feeling or even the experience or the daily activities and how they are so far, that they can like expose more internal feelings and emotions, could help him to search for more specific help from a doctor. So that I think is a powerful way to increase the men's health, especially. In talking more about the technical things, that's my part. First thing that we need to understand is the AI is not capable to intervene in a crisis or in an emergency in real time, but AI already have the capability to predict or to raise signals or notify somebody that your family member or your mother or father or your daughter has some signals of mental health disease or a crisis. We already have this capability. How we could do that? Firstly, the first concept that we need to have in mind that AI is driven by data. The fuel of AI models and AI predictions is the data. The models, the algorithms are basically linear regression mathematic formula, but they do nothing without data. we need the data to create the models. The models are a combination of data, trainment, and linear regression. So that's the final result is the AI models. So to have a good tool that can address different kind of mental health disease or different situations, we need to create a data lake or create a database or data set with all the academic data, experiences, or data acquired by users of an application. And we're capable to train our models with those data. This including emotional, voice nuances, and daily activities. So with that database, we can have a good model and train that to predict disease or even patterns that suggest depression or a crisis. So we need the first step to have a good tool is starting with data. So in that point, where are this data, right? This data comes from academy studies, from user activities, from study cases, from conversational things about mental health. And then the second step is have our origin data, get this raw data, treat this data, remove misinformation, remove personal or PII information, secret information, and then you create a golden data set. And then after creating this golden data set, we make a process of featuring. So what's this feature? Featuring, we get this golden data set and create relevant metrics to that will talk to the model. So, this disease is associated with this emotional feeling or is associated with this vocal tone. So we associated a disease with physical aspects, for example. After this featuring, we need to convert this text data into vectors of numbers. Vectors of numbers are lists of numbers that are stored in a database. Because machines don't understand text. Machines just understand numbers, basically. We need firstly convert this to numbers in vectors of numbers, and machine will interpret that and will match with the with the origin acknowledgement and give you back another vector of numbers, and then make a process of interpret this vector of numbers in text. So basically, it's how this works. So sorry for my long explanation, but just to give
We like it.
but yeah, if you have any questions.
I do have a question here. I have prepared a few questions. So, how can conversational AI be designed so men actually use it, considering many men reject traditional therapy and avoid emotional self-disclosure?
We start with an origin model we call machine learning model. Is the first the first model that after you create your linear regression model and train it with the origin data. The origin data is the first data set that you created to train the AI. After that, we refine the model prediction. So we deploy the first model, and then we make some tests to grant the quality and grant that the model is answering as expected. If not, we need to retrain that model, and we need to retrain that model with more data. When we achieve a expected result model, we to put this in production and to to deploy it to the users start using it, we also need to connect this model with the external real-time data, which means the model should have the capability to receive, to understand what the patient is asking him using voice or using text. And the model should also be able to understand the context and store the history of the person. So we need to implement a process called RAG, R-A-G, that is basically how we connect databases with models, because models don't have capability to connect directly in the database. So we need to implement this RAG process, and this way we will connect databases with the models, right? And how it works when somebody speak with ChatGPT and ChatGPT just responded. Basically, your phone capture your voice from the microphone. Microphone transmit your voice in a binary buffer 0 and 1 to through the network to a server. The server capture this, converts it in the text, and this conversion is made like with a machine learning model. And after this conversion, we just send this text to the model. And so the model can understand and translate your text to a vector of numbers and interpret this vector of numbers, and then respond in real time for you. Seems to be like real time, but many things happens behind the scenes, like our brains, because when we talk each other, we need to understand the language, interpret the language like English or Portuguese, then process everything, process the context. So the model does the same thing. What happened is that we store words in tokens. A token is a minimal piece of text that have a a meaning, like that's have some is understandable. So we get these tokens and we convert these tokens associated with the feelings, emotional or intention or other aspects. And we store this in the database, and then the model interpret is like in a multidimensional vector. So how can I give a simple explanation? Imagine that we are just capable to interpret 3 dimensions, right? But the models can interpret like multiple dimensions. So they can interpret different vectors sizes, and these vector sizes gives the model ability to link everything like in our brain. Basically, it's how it works. And so to produce this kind of tools, we start with a base model, and we need to implement a tool that will capture the audio or capability to stream the audio and or video to a server, and server will convert all this audio and video information into vectors and give this knowledge to the model, and model will bring back a response. And yeah, basically is how we could implement that.
There you go. Thank you. Very, very interesting. I'm very interested to develop more of this system. Another question that I have is, it's a personal actually, about your opinion. What do you think that would be an AI feature that would most be able to transform man's mental health globally? As you know,
Oh,
where AI can go, what do you think the missing feature that would be a breakthrough in men's globally?
I was thinking about it, and I think, in my opinion, so if we have something like emotional copilot should be a good tool. For example, imagine an AI that like obviously with permissions and privacy, continuously detects the stress patterns and also anticipates like emotional overload or provide micro intervention.
That's using Internet of Things or just the AI itself?
Yeah, I will achieve that point, but I just to give like a brief overview of the idea because I have an interesting point about it. So imagine that this application provide me micro interventions and in the exact same moment that I may need it. So for example, before a conflict or during a burnout or in moments of isolation, or it wouldn't wait for men to ask for help, and it proactively delivered the like right prompt or support at the right second in the right format, voice, like text, etc. So this would normalize emotional maintenance in the same way fitness trackers normalize physical health, right?
Hmm.
um, and but also I think we are not at this stage yet, but I think in the future, imagine that you can insert a chip or some devices into your body, and this device could be controlled by AI to uh, to release some doses of medicine to control your crisis automatically. So this device can be connected with like another Internet of Things device, or with your phone, or your watch, or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and can anticipate medicine dosation and release medicine in your body to keep you calm and avoid some tragedy.
I mean,
Um,
anxiolytics medication would detect that the person is going to be in an anxiety crisis, and it automatically inserts on the bloodstream some medication. That's it we're talking about.
yeah, exactly. We can think about, for example, today we have some insulin bomb that automatically regulate the dose of insulin in the blood to control diabetes. But imagine that this for mental health. This is not possible today because each patient demands a specific treatment and dosage and depends of a proactive act from the patient. And the patients sometimes don't want to get the medicines or don't know how to get that or, inject that or whatever. But if you have a AI system that controls it to the patient, could like avoid many dangerous situations, in my opinion. And I think not for everybody, but for patient that need it could be the case. So I think that
AI would detect who is suitable for this type of technology in the future.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess. But I think that could be the future of this kind of treatment or therapy.
On the other hand, what do you think that AI feature that will never be able to achieve that is related to mental health? Something that's completely human, or something that even with neural chips or neural networks, that AI will not be able to get there.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say never because in AI we have some stages, right? We are just in the beginning. AI stages are we started some 2 decades ago. The main studies about the machine learning, artificial intelligence. I had the classes about AI in 2010 during my degree. So in that time, we were already able to produce like a generative AI as today. So we are in the beginning with age AI at the next level of AI. we don't know what could be the frontiers of AGI, how much capability AGI will have to treat anything. But if you said to me today, with the technology of today, I think we are not able to like replace the trained clinicians and doctors in assessing real-time danger or managing de escalation of a patient in crisis, or we don't have capability to healing a long-term trauma that requires a therapeutic alliance and body cues and safe relational repair. AI does not have fully pulses of the patient conditions. And I think AI lakes stable memory of lived experience, like our daily basis, our family dynamics, or long-term emotional patterns, or dealing with relationship, or assess the human internal emotional feelings. Yeah, the AI still depends on the patient input to predict or act in some direction. So I think this is just assessed by a doctor or some exam today.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Alvaro, for your explanation. Trisha, it's heading over.
How were you all told to think about the ethics of what you were doing?
okay, and good questions. Because privacy and ethical things is a pretty relevant topic today, especially misinformation or prevent exposure in this connected world. In my opinion, ethically, I think AI should always act like as a supportive tool, not as a replacement for human care. I can guide education, awareness, and early detection, but the therapeutic relationship and emotional repair still require human connection and professional oversight. And I think that, like, for example, in programming and coding work, from software engineering, we already are replacing professionals that write code. But we are facing a very hard challenge this day, because AI cannot interpret or create from scratch or business from scratch entirely alone. They demand some kind of management also, and they demand that the professional ask the right questions and give the right directions to implement right code. And I think that will happen with all the professionals. Maybe we will stop doing the more manual work or repetitive work, but in general, the final thought or the strategic thought, and how to interpret the results or how to guide the AI to provide the answer will need it to be given by a human. So I think we will automate a lot of things, but we will not replace accurate acknowledgement and emotional feelings or education or particular relationships.
Thank you. And Samantha, sorry, please go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon, and thank you for a really scintillating talk here. It's really, really wonderful to hear this initiative is being taken for men's health. I'm just wondering, you're still in the development stage of this AI chatbot help tool. How long do you think it will be before you can roll it out for users?
That's a good question. Actually, we are prototyping it. Obviously, I'm not fully working on it because I depend of my current job. But Felipe and I, we are writing a very good prototype and a small scope for a pilot. And we need some support of other people's, for example, to get the data, to get studies, to be able to extract information from real case uses, to rise up to connect with people that want to try the solution in a pilot version.
Volunteers, right?
Yeah, volunteers. Maybe universities could help us to experiment that. And so I cannot say like a deadline, but I hope to deliver something the next 6 months or so. But my dream is be able to dedicate myself to help people with mental health disease. I have some cases on my family about that. So when were able to not depend on a job, I will dedicate my time to implement solutions on these fields.
Thank you. I really look forward to seeing it because from what you have both said here, this can be life-changing for men and teenagers.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
For families, yeah.
I was talking with Felipe some days ago. Okay, I have kids, but they are young. They don't have cell phones yet. But when they got teenager, will be very useful to have AI that just watch the screen of the cell phones and understand if they are depressed or if they are talking with some stranger or if they are danger and give the report to the parents, because sometimes the parents don't have this visibility and they don't want to talk about this mental health disease of the kids. So it's another kind of tool that is very useful.
There is an AI I was talking to Alvaro. It's called Pluli. It's an AI that, for instance, it would be here running on the background, and then it would be following our conversation. If each one of us had this clearly on screen, it would be giving the feedback of everything we're talking about and would be giving you information about what we're talking, would be desiccating everything we're talking. It would even give suggestions of questions for us to make to each other. So if we could find in the near future something that would be doing this and having these algorithms to notice what's going on with our kids, with our lives, with men, with women, with whoever, it would be inferring where we're heading in mental wise speaking. So it would guess that you're heading a good path, you're heading a bad path, and then would give you an input. Let's intervene or let's escalate this to someone who is in charge of handling this kind of situation.
Yeah, and it's not about control. Like, what is the boundary between control and about copilot, like have an assistance? Because people could use this solution to control other people. So we need to think about the ethical thing.
But if we can escalate this, like as you said, this AI is not supposed to replace a therapist. It's going to be a co-pilot of the therapist.
Yeah.
And as Astrisha said, the ethics of handing your mental health to a computer is not what we're expecting. This is a mix of technology and techniques, human techniques that makes the system to work properly. And then the system would be programmed to escalate this to the therapist or to a health service to assist the person at that moment. So the advantage here is to prevent, is to detect a while in advance that the person is actually going to be in a crisis and escalate it.
Yeah.
That's my Felipe. That's what I think. That's the main feature of this technology, and that's where I think we had to go to in the near future. As Alvaro said, we do not know how this technology is going to develop, but from our standpoint today, what we have, we can do this.
Yeah. And about other AI tools that I can mention about health in general, a good tool is called Glass Health. class how is AI trained with years of data specifically for health to help doctors and therapists to support clinical decisions. So it's another great tool.
I'm looking forward to developing to work to do more. My thesis is going to be about mental health and artificial intelligence.
Well, Felipe and Alvaro, that's been brilliant. Been
Thank
really
you.
brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this so important and current updated subject and theme. Thank you.